Hello everyone and welcome back to the remote working series. I'm Francesco and this series is all about the world of remote work. Now in today's feature we're going to be talking about sort of a guide to picking the best coffee shops to work remotely in. Just before we get started, I wanted to thank our sponsor Hive for this series, sponsoring this series. They run an awesome project management software that you can use in your team to boost your productivity. They've got some pretty swell features like integrated chat, project templates, project views, and also hundreds of integrated products. So you've got an option for integrations there. Now, if you want 10% off of a Hive subscription, you can go and find the code in the description. The code is remote work. And if you want a full review of what Hive does and how it's used, you can check it up in the YouTube cards or in the description below. So guys, today we're going to be talking about a guide to picking the best coffee shops. Now, I've sort of been around and seen a lot of coffee shops. When I was in Birmingham, I spent a lot of time in coffee shops. When I'm in London, I spent a lot of time in coffee shops. And in Plymouth, where I'm from, I spend a lot of time in coffee shops. And wherever I go, I analyze coffee shops in a weird way. So hopefully this advice comes from a good place. But I sort of view coffee shops when I go and work there as sort of an office space, a work environment you can spend time in. And of course, if you're a remote worker or someone who even grabs like 3 or 4 hours at the weekend to spend some time working in a coffee shop, being able to analyze it in this level of detail is very good because it can really enhance your productivity. First of all, the numero uno is Wi-Fi. You need to make sure that the Wi-Fi is good. Just try, while you're in line for the coffee, what I tend to do to analyze a coffee shop's Wi-Fi is just try and quickly upload something or like share something on Twitter or like a video or something like that, just so I can test how well the Wi-Fi is, because normally that's a good indication of being able to detect whether you're going to stay there or not. If the Wi-Fi is not so good or like dire, get out of there. You can leave the line and go to the next coffee shop. But if it's good, stick around and obviously buy your coffee. But it's a good way before you commit to buying coffee, because that can be painful because it ties you down there for at least 30 minutes to an hour. Next thing is opening times, being able to have a coffee shop that has a wide range of opening times. I quite like the coffee shop that I go to regularly, opens at 9 and it closes at 7 p.m. So if I ever get carried away at 5 p.m. doing something, then I can carry on until 7 p.m. Now, I would like it to be open earlier, but as you can imagine, coffee shops have different opening times, so just make sure you're aware of all the coffee shops' opening times. A consideration is charging points. Make sure that you pick a few seats, or you understand where the seats are, where the good charging points are, because, for example, let's say you get deep into some work, an hour in, and you're like, oh, I'm on 23%, and you're like, damn, I need to charge. Being able to find that is pretty difficult in case it gets busier and busier and busier and you can't go and relocate yourself to a new space. So make sure you find a nice charging point so that you don't lose out. Of course, one of the things that many people don't consider is staff friendliness. If you go into this coffee shop regularly, like I do, I visit my coffee shop 2-3 times a week, making sure that the staff are friendly is important. And that's the case in the coffee shop I go to, lovely staff. And actually having those staff there being friendly really does make the experience a lot more relaxing. Plus, when it comes to like problems or things like that, they can tend to solve those for you. Next thing to consider is comfy seats. A bit of a detail, but when it comes to having a comfortable seat, that can really help your posture and things like your back. It will save your back from any damage, things like that. So actually having a comfy seat with a nice pillow on it or nice backrest can really enhance sort of your functionality across the day, especially when you're there for more than 3 or 4 hours, most definitely. The next thing to consider is water stations. It sounds silly, but actually in between a coffee or tea that you have, grabbing some water and actually having it. If you have to go and ask the staff all the time, it's a bit of a pain, but if you can go and refill, that's just an extra bonus that really does make your experience a lot easier. So there are things that really maximizes your experiences. One of the things that really does get to me when I find a good coffee shop that has a good loyalty scheme, that sort of makes it makes a massive amount of difference. So finding a coffee shop with a loyalty scheme really does help, especially if you visit it a lot. You can pretty much get coffees back once you sort of hit a certain amount, which is a good experience. Next thing is as well, a good coffee shop has value amounts of tea. So I tend to get like the small pot of tea, which gives me about 3 amounts worth of tea for a good value. So having not just a regular tea that's small, but a lot of different variations is a nice bonus, because you actually save time having to go up there every single 5 minutes and get a brand new tea. Maybe 3 teas last me about an hour to 2 hours, giving me a good sort of amount of time to drink the tea, and also to not have to go and buy and consider completely just carry on. And one of the final things as well, a bit of an awkward topping point, is actually going to the bathroom. Like when you're in a coffee shop and you have a laptop and you have all your equipment, you're technically working from there, right? You don't really want to leave your stuff. There might be £1,000 or £2,000 worth of laptop equipment there. They could be in for the picking. People could quickly grab them. So just consider the spaces in your coffee shop that are pretty safe. Like I tend to go in the corners where people can't quickly rush out and grab anything. You know, and always that's where the staff friendliness comes in as well. You could always ask a staff member or someone around you, hey, or regular, hey, do you mind watching my stuff for 3 or 4 minutes? Thank you. And they'll be able to watch that stuff for you. So that's another thing to consider, whether there's regulars coming in and whether the staff members are prepared to watch your stuff or you pop out for 3 or 4 minutes. Anyway guys, I actually wrote a blog post all about guiding a guide to a coffee shop, which actually go into a slightly more level of depth. So if you want to check that out, that is going to be in the description below. I hope you enjoyed this feature today, guys. In the next feature, we're going to be talking about co-working spaces. These are spaces that you guys can go and actually benefit from, work with other people, but not necessarily who are in your company, and spend a bit of time there. Anyway guys, if you haven't yet subscribed, feel free to subscribe, and again make sure to check out Hive in the description below. There's a 10% discount as well. Use remote work to get 10% off your Hive subscription and enjoy that project management resource. Anyway guys, make sure to have a great week, keep productive, and I'll see you guys very soon. Cheers.